how to say what are you doing in Swedish. The present tense system in Swedish is quite difficult to understand because it is not exactly like what it is in English. So basically, whenever you want to say doing something in Swedish, it became present tense. So today we're going to explore further what present tense and present future tense is in Swedish grammar. Previously, when we talked about how to use the word att in Swedish, we've mentioned a little bit about how ing form in English is in Swedish. So ing form in English has basically two functions. One of it is to describe an ongoing action. For example, I am reading now. And in Swedish, it's jag läser nu. And you may notice that in Swedish, we do not use any ing form or anything special. We just use the present tense, läser. And please note that please don't translate from English directly, because if you want to do that, it would be something like jag är läser nu, from I am reading now, but this is actually wrong in Swedish, so let's not do that. And the other function of ing form in English is not to describe an ongoing action, rather to create a noun structure from a verb. So, for example, I like reading. So reading here, it is not an action, it is a noun, it is an activity. And this structure, I like reading, in Swedish became jag gillar att läsa. I like reading. Jag gillar att läsa. So att läsa in Swedish is the way to create a noun structure. So today we're going to focus on the first usage of ing form in English and to explore what it is in Swedish. Because the second usage of ing form is actually not really the present tense of a verb. It is actually a way to create a noun structure. So this is not the focus for today. So now let's go back to the Swedish present tense system. Now we can look at those examples. In Swedish, jag pluggar varje dag. I study every day. So this first example tells us that actually the usage of the present tense in Swedish and in English is actually quite similar. We use present tense to tell a habit and to tell something we usually do on a daily basis. And the second structure, jag pluggar nu. I am studying now. And this structure is quite interesting because, as we said previously, in Swedish, we do not use ing form. We do not have a specific form for an ongoing action, and thus it is replaced by present tense. So jag pluggar nu, it's I am studying now in Swedish. But because of jag pluggar nu and jag pluggar varje dag, they're not so big differences, and sometimes it do create some kind of confusions. So in Swedish, actually, we'll also use an expression to emphasize and to strengthen the sense of ongoingness. It is jag håller på att plugga nu. Jag håller på att plugga nu. In English, I am dealing with studying now. So this may be a very strange structure in English, but it is not strange at all in Swedish, because this is something you would say very often to strengthen the ongoingness, to strengthen that you are doing it. Så ja, här har vi jag pluggar nu, I'm studying now. Jag håller på att plugga nu. Okay, Now let's do a quick test to see if we understand everything. So how to say I run every day in Swedish? Yes, jag springer varje dag. And the next one, how to say I am running now in Swedish? Yes, jag springer nu eller jag håller på att springa nu. Jag springer nu eller jag håller på att springa nu. Jättebra. But now let's go further into the present tense system. In Swedish, we can also use present tense to express future tense. Now, maybe it sounds really confusing. What I'm saying now is actually we can use present tense for the verb to express future tense for a sentence, for the context. So it is called present future tense in Swedish, presens futurum. And this is something we also have in English, actually. So in English, you would say, for example, I am going to Paris next week. You use the expression going to or going to do something. And in Swedish, I'm going to Paris next week. It is jag åker till Paris nästa vecka. Jag åker till Paris nästa vecka. So you see, we still use present tense, and present tense here, it expresses the future tense for the context. In English, you also say, I'm going to meet my friend tomorrow. You use going to do something to express the future tense. And in Swedish, you would use jag träffar min kompis imorgon. Jag träffar min kompis imorgon. So now you see the Swedish present tense system extremely versatile. And the last one, you also use will. I will meet my friend tomorrow. You will do something to express a sense of planning. And in Swedish, it is not present tense, though. It is ska. You would use the auxiliary verb ska. Jag ska träffa min kompis imorgon. So in English, I will meet. In Swedish, jag ska träffa. So what are the differences between I am going to do something and I will do something in English? And what are the difference between jag åker till Paris eller jag ska åka till Paris? So actually the differences is not that tremendous. Actually, they are very similar, but we have different focus for the context. For example, when you say I'm going to do something, or when you use the present tense in Swedish, when you say jag åker till Paris eller jag träffar min kompis imorgon, you have a stronger focus on what to do. You have a stronger focus on the activity. So you're telling your friend, this thing is something I'm going to do in the future. But when you're using will do in English or jag ska träffa min kompis, ska, then you have another focus. You're focusing more on what your plan is. So what is your plan? You're telling your friend, this is my plan for the future. So slightly different semantical focus in a context, but they are quite similar still. So you can think about how you would use going to do something and will do something in English. And that's almost the same in Swedish. But there is one expression for future tense in Swedish which doesn't exist in English. Oh, actually, it is not that extreme. It exists in English, but it's quite confusing because we don't single it out. So let's explore the next one, which is kommer att. kommer att in Swedish is quite special. Let's explore those examples. Det kommer att regna imorgon. Det kommer att regna imorgon. Du kommer att bli frisk snart om du tar medicin. Jag ska åka till Paris nästa vecka. Jag pluggar imorgon. So let's look at the sentences we use kommer att. Det kommer att regna imorgon. Du kommer att bli frisk snart om du tar medicin. So if you think a little bit more, you would find that whenever you use kommer att, you are using it for the activity that you actually do not have fully control. So kommer att in Swedish, it's actually for prognosis, and in which case you do not have the total control or agency on the situation. For example, you cannot dictate when the ring should stop. You cannot change the plan for the ring. You cannot really dictate when the patient would be healthy again. So in those cases, you would use kommer att in Swedish. And in the other present tense and future tense, present future tense expressions, jag ska åka till Paris, jag pluggar imorgon, and those situations is those you can control. So you can plan, you planned this, and you can change the plan if you want to. Then you would not use kommer att, then you would use ska or present tense. So kommer att is quite special. So what it is in English, if you think a little bit more, what would we say that in English? So in English, it is actually will. It is actually a part of will. So in English, you would say it will rain tomorrow. But in Swedish, you would say det kommer att regna. In English, you will say I will visit my friend tomorrow. I will visit my friend tomorrow. In Swedish, it would be jag ska besöka min kompis imorgon. So this is something to think about. Please do not translate in your head directly will into Swedish ska, because sometimes it is not ska, it is kommer att, depending on if you have the agency or not. But in Swedish, we do have another verb which is very similar to will, but it is not really will in English. So that's the verb vill. So I really want to emphasize on this because I do think many students make mistakes in beginner stage. So vill in Swedish means want. It has nothing to do with will. So will in English is ska in Swedish or kommer att in Swedish. Now let's do a quick test together. So how to say I'm going to eat pizza tomorrow? Yes, that's jag äter pizza imorgon. Jag äter pizza imorgon. How to say I will take a vacation next week? Yes, jag ska ta semester nästa vecka. Jag ska ta semester nästa vecka. How to say don't worry, it will be fine. Yes, oroa dig inte, det kommer att bli bra. Oroa dig inte, det kommer att bli bra. So now you should know how to say what are you doing in Swedish. What is that? Yes, you would say vad gör du? Eller vad håller du på med? Vad gör du? Eller vad håller du på med? Okej, tack så jättemycket för idag.